Hello, everyone, and welcome back into another episode of Conversations with Chris and Cameron. It's episode 47. I'm Chris Beesmore, and
And Cameron Waddle.
welcome back. We hope you all enjoy last week with UK getting two big wins, of course, blowing out Oklahoma, even though we got a little bit close in that second half towards the tail end. But hey, Brandon Garrison got that dunk, and then, of course, UK came back from 14 points against Tennessee to defeat them. They swept Tennessee again in the regular season like they did last year. So both were very two big wins. UK is now 17-7. They have the same record as last year, of course. UK has a better overall SEC record compared to last year. Of course, last year's UK team had a better non-conference record compared to this year's team, but 17-7 at this point, I think everybody's happy right now where we're currently at with everything that happened at the very beginning of the season with losing to Louisville, losing to Michigan State in a blowout, losing to Gonzaga in a blowout. So I think a lot of fans are currently happy with UK's record, though.
Yeah, I think I would definitely agree with that because obviously you can't go back and change what's happened in the past and what's gone on in the early part of the season. But all you can do is handle what's in front of you. And I mean they've turned it into
Mhm.
8 of 9 wins. And obviously the one loss is a little tough one to think about, but
Yeah.
they're winning what's in front of them, and that's really all you can ask for. And you mentioned the week sweep that was really necessary and got us back into the top 25. And
Yeah.
I mean, it was big time stuff. It was two home games that you got to handle business on. You got to handle the home games. You got to handle
Mhm.
kind of with Oklahoma the inferior opponents, and then Tennessee getting the season sweep is always fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, big time week last week.
Yeah, for sure. And like you were saying, UK got back in the top 25. So that is very huge and everything. And hopefully Kentucky can continue to win out and everything. Of course, they play against Florida on Saturday. We'll talk about that. But we're going to also recap the previous two games with Oklahoma. But we're going to more so cover, the Tennessee game because, that was huge coming back from 14 points. Nobody expected UK to do that. Everybody was expecting UK to defeat Tennessee before the game started. But then everybody was like, this could be a rough letdown, in years past where we've had so many letdowns, like against Kansas a couple years ago. I remember being at that matchup where, everybody was at the game. Students were packing inside Rupp Arena, but, sadly UK lost to Kansas a couple years ago. But everybody was also maybe expecting a rough letdown. Luckily, that didn't happen, and, big win against Tennessee.
Yeah, with the denims, it felt like it was one of those things where it was like it almost felt too good to be true going into it, and we
Hmm.
ended up being the favorite by the time like things kind of closed, and everybody was like, you know what, UK might be able to just have a great, denim out, and
Yeah.
everybody just be happy and
Hmm.
all this different stuff. It goes to be a great night, and then obviously that first half was not
Yeah.
the most pretty basketball we've ever seen in the Cats,
Yeah.
trail. And it was obviously a slow one, but we ended up
Yep.
getting over the hump and ended up winning in the end. So that was really all that mattered. But
Hmm.
yeah, it looked like there was a chance of it being a rough letdown for sure.
Yeah.
And it was kind of one of
Hmm.
those where I'm personally a huge fan of the denims, but I was like, you know what, let's put them up. Let's hang
Yeah.
them up for good. And if this is going to be the outing that we see in them, then
Hmm.
let's go ahead and hang it up. But this team, you never write them off. That's
Yeah.
one thing with this group for sure, because they will just never go away, and they just always figure out a way to make it happen,
Yeah, for sure.
and they
But
did it again.
yeah, for sure. But before we start talking about Tennessee some more, I want to talk about this Oklahoma game, quickly talk about it, go over it. So, I mean, I really was not impressed with UK until probably the last 4 minutes of that first half. Like, it felt like the first 16 minutes, UK was struggling to score the ball. They were struggling to get defensive stops. And then the last 4 minutes, their offense went haywire. They were able to score with ease. They were getting stops and everything. I was very happy about that. And, Brandon Garrison, he had a big game for UK. I'm going through his stats right now. Brandon Garrison had 20 points. He also had 11 rebounds, a double-double. He also added 3 assists for UK, and he just showed out against Oklahoma. Of course, he played at Oklahoma State before coming to UK, so there's a little rivalry between Oklahoma State and Oklahoma. So, of course, Brandon Garrison will always show out for them. And then Otega Oweh, he also had a brilliant game. He used to play for Oklahoma before transferring to UK. 24 points, 7 for 11 from the field, 3 for 4 from the 3-point line, and then he also added 3 rebounds and 3 assists to the team. And like I said, those were probably the two most impressive players for UK against Oklahoma.
Yeah, for sure. They were awesome. And um, you mentioned the two guys that kind of have the Oklahoma connections, and one of those guys was like a rare occasion where I kind of took a gamble when we were choosing our MVP, and I was like, you know what, I think Brandon Garrison's gonna be
Yeah,
our MVP.
yeah,
I never thought this was gonna happen though. I didn't think it was a 20-11 outing, which
yeah.
by far his best game as a Wildcat. I
Hmm.
think it's safe to say. I thought maybe he'd go out there and pick up 2 or 3 blocks or something, and maybe have like 8 and 8 and something to that aspect. But no,
Yeah,
20 and 11, and he was dominant all night, and it
yeah,
was kind of the Brandon Garrison we've been wanting to be able to see. Like we've
yeah.
wanted to see that, but Oweh, obviously, I mean, going against the former school, he provided a great spark as well, and it
Mhm.
was a lot of fun. I mean, that was the first time I had been to Rupp since I'm trying to think. I think it's the first time I've been to Rupp since the Georgetown exhibition. I hadn't been to a regular season
Yeah.
game there. I had gone to the Michigan State game, and so like I had gone to a neutral site, but I hadn't been to Rupp in a minute. Now, honestly, like I mean, we've always like talked about this as just a fan base, not the best environment in the world, but I will say like even for that game, big credit to BBN and everything because that was a 9 o'clock Wednesday night game,
Yeah.
and it was honestly, I mean, even part of the end zones were filled. But I do think Rupp, maybe I'm just like late to this because they didn't have it during the Georgetown exhibition, but they've added a few new videos and stuff that just get you like fired up as like a Kentucky fan. So
Uh-huh.
honestly, for what UK is doing, they're doing their absolute best to be able to
Yeah.
provide a great experience. And
Hmm.
this Oklahoma game was one of those that, like you mentioned
Yeah.
early on, it was kind of a must-have game. Like just go
Yeah.
out there and win it. The crowd, I thought, brought it with everybody
Mhm.
showing up, and it was another one that was just a good win to pick up. And I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know if you saw they beat Vanderbilt after that game, so it's
I
maybe
know.
aging.
It's
It's maybe
crazy.
aging very well for us.
Yeah, it's just crazy the SEC this year and overall like every game like has been crazy. Like earlier tonight, like between Purdue and Nebraska, Purdue got out big and then barely won. Like they were able to defeat Nebraska during overtime. And I was looking at that game, I'm like, why would anybody, bet on Nebraska? Of course, I know they're having a great season and everything. I just thought, Purdue would whoop on Nebraska, and they did to begin the game. I think they got up 14-1, but of course, Nebraska came back, tied it in regulation, then went into overtime. Purdue won that game.
Yeah, that's a great win for Purdue, who feels like is reeling at this point because they've dropped some home games. They've
Yeah,
dropped that one to IU, so I mean, they needed it. But to your point, this country of college basketball, it's just been unbelievable. Like
yeah,
it literally feels like every single night you don't know what's gonna happen. I don't remember what it got up to, but Illinois had just rattled off like 14 wins. It was something crazy. They were just rolling,
mhm,
winning everywhere that they played, and then Wisconsin went in and beat them tonight. So
yeah,
like I don't know. Anytime you turn on a college basketball game this year, it feels like you can see an outcome you're not really expecting, and
yeah.
we happen to be some of those because I mean our games are all chaos, and I bet I would guess we're probably live better's favorite teams of all time because we'll just
Yeah.
go down, and then I want to say at half it got to like Tennessee was like a 6.5 point favorite live or something,
Uh-huh.
and we came back and won. But
Yeah.
the Oklahoma game, we actually kind of controlled it, so that one
Yeah.
was fun in that aspect of it.
Yeah, and just talking a little bit more about Brandon Garrison, he only had 4 points and 4 rebounds going into halftime, so he turned it on during the second half, getting his double-double. Of course, he scored 16 points in the second half, and then of course also grabbed 7 more boards for UK. So like his first half, he was very quiet, but then that second half, like he went crazy for Kentucky.
Yeah, he was big time. I didn't realize he only had 4 and 4, honestly, but yeah, he got it in bunches though. I mean, he
Yeah.
did it in every possible way, and he was
Mhm.
he was dominating. So
Yeah.
he once him and Otega Oweh see that Oklahoma on somebody else's chest, it's just kind
Yeah.
of
It's
yeah,
over.
it's just over. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Let them go, and they'll just dominate the rest of the way.
Absolutely cinema.
Yeah, absolute cinema. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And then I want to talk about Colin Chandler. He was also a very key player for Kentucky against Oklahoma. He dropped 18 points on 6 for 13, shooting from the field, 4 for 8 from the 3-point line. He also grabbed 3 boards and 3 assists. And like he just keeps turning it on for Kentucky. And I'm so happy like he's coming alive because like at the very beginning of the season, I felt like he was forced into that role of like potentially starting and then having to be the point guard, handling the ball. And he didn't look comfortable doing that. And since then, I think, Mark Pope and Colin Chandler, they have realized what his role is, where, like he can handle the ball if he has to, but that's not his primary duty. Like, let him get the ball every now and then, like, let him dribble, all of that. But, for him, it's more just cutting into the lane, making layups, dunks, whatever, or also running throughout the 3-point line and basically being like Stephen Curry for us.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, early in the year, it was like he would go from playing a ton of minutes and then playing like random spot minutes and then like you mentioned, playing different roles and stuff. And it feels like now at this point, he's figured out his role, and he figures out like he's figured out just where he fits in, and he's been absolutely incredible. Like that game was awesome. He
Yeah,
was nuclear in that one. Um, he got that place rocking a couple different times, forced him into timeouts and everything, and that's exactly what he's been able to do. And Colin's been one of those dudes that like I feel like every time I watch him, I just enjoy watching him even more. I'm just like this dude just figured it out. Like
yeah,
as the last season went on, didn't really know a whole lot about this guy once he was coming to Kentucky. Then he goes throughout the season, and then you look there at the end of the year, and you're like, wow, Collins really kind of figured
yeah,
it out. Now he's coming into his second year. It was kind of a slow start, but there's obviously the crazy roster with tons of money put into it, tons of guys out there, and he's trying to figure out his role. But now that these guys have like unfortunately gotten hurt and everything, he kind of figured out like what he's supposed to do, where he's supposed to be, and now I mean, he's as hot as anybody that
yeah.
you can look at in the SEC right now, shooting wise, and he can just absolutely fill it up. He can shoot from all over the court. Like he's
6 feet
obviously got the
behind three
athleticism.
point line.
Yeah, yeah. Logo threes are always in play. Like he just
Yeah,
he's got it going, and he's an
yeah,
absolute blast to watch.
yeah, for sure. And do you remember his breakout game from last year, like when he actually broke through for Kentucky? I was actually at the game, so I do remember this.
His breakout game.
Yeah.
Um, what were like his stats from it? Do you know?
It wasn't anything too crazy, but like, it was 7.6 rebounds and 2 assists. That was like his first like true breakout game where he almost had, double digit points.
I'm trying to think. I can't remember. Well, which
It,
one was?
it was Vandy at Rupp Arena.
Huh. No, I did. I don't remember. I can't remember just like pointing out that one. But hey,
Yeah.
maybe I was trying to think of just like one of them that I could remember. But like I don't know. I mean that was
Yeah.
definitely one of them towards the end of the year that we needed big time.
Yeah.
And he ended up coming up clutch in March too. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's been a lot of fun though.
Yep,
He's been
I
so
just
much fun to
I
watch.
just remember my friend who runs the burn account saying that he won't tweet again until Colin Chandler scores above 10 points, and everybody was like, "Well, see you next year. He won't score over 10 points at all." And then like that very like next day, UK plays against Vandy, and then he almost scores 10 points. But of course, he didn't tweet anything out. But everybody was tweeting at him saying, "You might be able to tweet after tonight."
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. I mean, he'd definitely be able to be tweeting a lot this year. He's got it figured out.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, I'm very impressed with Colin Chandler and everything. But, like, just to talk a little bit more about this Oklahoma game, like I said, UK, they looked a little slow to start out, like the first 36 minutes, or the first 16 minutes of the first half. Last 4 minutes, they started to go on that roll on offense and then also started to play great defense. And then that second half, they looked overall very well. But I think we all got a little nervous whenever Oklahoma got it back down to single digits, got it down to 8 points. And then, of course, Brandon Garrison helped, basically like say the game's over. He got a clutch offensive rebound, I believe. He put it up, got fouled, made the basket, and then also got the M1. And basically, after that, everybody was stopping. Everybody wasn't worrying anymore because UK got above 10 points again. And like after that, it was basically game over.
Yeah, there's a little game pressure for sure. Like it was the game that you'd like to be able to say that you like led start to finish, and it was just dominance, all this stuff. But like, I mean, Oklahoma didn't go away. They went down fighting. So credit to Porter Moser for that because that's one of those games that you could lay down. The Rupp crowd's going crazy, and Kentucky's got on these crazy runs and stuff. But Brandon Garrison. I will say you got the full Brandon Garrison experience because
Yeah,
like he had the tech at the end, and it was just
yeah,
like it was like he just checked all the boxes. Like
yeah,
he played great offensively. He grabbed all the rebounds and then goes out and gets attacked just to give you the entire full BG experience. So I
yeah.
mean it was a lot of fun and obviously you said like it wasn't the most comfortable. Like we didn't
Uh-huh.
win by like 25 plus. I felt like we kept getting into like I think the number was 17 and we couldn't get it past
Yeah,
17 and they'd keep pushing and then they'd pull it in a little bit and it'd get to like whatever it was. I think you said 8.
yeah, yeah,
And you just couldn't. It was one of those that like also the pressure kind of flips back towards you because they're just in there just hitting some crazy shots and
uh-huh.
just doing all that they can to stay in it. But credit
Yeah,
to the Cats, man. They were able to close it out and get
yeah.
this much needed victory.
Yeah, they won 94 to 78. And of course, like you said, it was Brandon Garrison time. I just find it so crazy that you see Mark Pope always run so quickly whenever like his team gets into a fight or a scuffle, especially it feels like it's Brandon Garrison every time. Like you always see him so quickly wherever it might be, whether it might be on the other side of the court or whatever.
Well, I think the one that he cleared, and this one was Diabate, I think, right? What I think it was like some dude shoved Diabate or something. Then
Mhm.
Diabate said something, and maybe it might have been BG that stepped up or something. Then, but then somebody,
Yeah,
yeah, it was all this, and then Mark Pope just turns into an Olympic track runner. Like as
yeah,
soon as something happens, like nobody leaves the sideline quicker than Mark Pope to stop
yeah,
these things. Like
yeah.
he's got it understood, man. He just goes out there and stops these things immediately. He doesn't let anything turn into the Pistons Hornets thing from the other night. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And that was wild. I think what like 4 players got ejected from that game, something like that.
Yeah, yeah. And then later on, the Hornets coach got thrown out too. So it was just like that night was just crazy. I wasn't watching it, but I have a buddy that's a huge NBA fan. He texted me about it, and I was like, "Dang, really?" No, I
Yeah.
looked it up. Very understandable on why some dudes got got thrown out in that one, but that was wild.
Yeah, my girlfriend, who's a big sports fan like I am, she actually saw a video of it this morning and showed it to me because I didn't see it last night. And then as soon as like she showed me the video, I see a tweet from the Pistons head coach. I think it's JB Bickerstaff, I believe, but he was
Yep.
basically just saying that, Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart are like brothers. Like if you come after one, the other person's going to have their back for him. So I'm like, wow, like what are the odds that she shows me this video and then this tweet also pops up.
Yeah, no, I mean it's good stuff, and honestly, you got to respect them like going to fight for their brother and stuff. But man,
Yeah,
it was wild. It feels
yeah,
like it feels like in the NBA now, like there'll be like small stuff start or whatever, but
yeah,
nothing ever comes out of it.
yeah,
That one, I mean, it was a full effect, and anytime Isaiah Stewart is
yeah,
involved, you know it's legit. I mean, that dude's an absolute madman when it comes to like a fight. He's like, all right, well,
yeah,
all right, if there's a fight, Isaiah
yeah.
Stewart's going to find his way to it.
Yep. I mean, LeBron James basically like that's how everybody found out who Isaiah Stewart was.
Yeah, yeah, he man, he was wild. I remember wanting him to be at UK. Like I still remember like his recruitment and all this, and he ended up
Uh-huh.
going to Washington. But
Yeah.
I wanted him to be at UK so bad. And then
Mhm.
obviously, I mean, now if he had come to UK and then he turned into this type of player, obviously the
Yeah.
Kentucky fans would be kind of like it'd be a bittersweet thing where we're like, hey man, I'm glad you're finding your way around the league, but like, dude, chill out a little bit.
Yeah. Chill
But
out, relax. Yeah, for sure. But do you have anything else you want to add about this Oklahoma game before we transition and talk about Tennessee?
I don't think so. Honestly, I feel like the most notable thing uh from this, at least for me, because I was like just like being there and attendance and stuff, like was the fact that Pope had the thing with his daughter coming home
Uh-huh.
that night with
Oh,
Avery,
yeah.
and he had left and all this stuff, and there were actually some UK fans that was like their first game. They were around me and they're like, well, so is he just like gone? Like there ain't nothing I need to stick around for or whatever. I was like, I mean, honestly, no. And it was McLean came out and talked, and Brandon
Mhm.
Garrison came out and talked with his kid and all that, but like it was super cool to see. It's always really cool to see Mark Pope like throw on the dad hat because
Yeah.
like being a dad is his number one priority
Hmm.
while he's here on Earth. So like
Yeah.
seeing him go like throw the dad hat on, say like Avery lands in 22 minutes. I'll be
Hmm.
back and everything. And I'm excited for Saturday. Thank you all for being a great crowd tonight. Whatever it was,
Yeah.
and then he dipped, and I was like,
Yeah.
well, I mean, that's actually pretty cool. Like at least he came out onto the mic and said something about it and did all of that. So
Yeah.
and we got a funny picture from it with him
Yeah. With the
with
beanie.
Yeah, with the beanie on, it was like, all right, well, this is it. BB and Twitter's gonna have fun with this one.
Yeah, I saw your video that you posted. It was definitely a very emotional video just to see, everybody reuniting with the family because, of course, I think it was, what, 16 or 18 months since she was on that mission trip. I don't think it was 2 years. I think it was either, like I said, a little less than a year and a half or about a year and a half.
Yeah, I think it was, I want to say it was 15 months. I
Yeah,
think it was like, it might have been, yeah, 15, 16. But yeah, I
yeah,
mean, it's a long time to be away from your daughter, though. Like that's for
yeah.
sure. And then sadly, I think it was Layla that night couldn't make it,
Uh-huh.
but they were on the phone with her, and then she ended up flying, I think, the next night or something. So, like, the full family was there, and
Yeah,
they were there for the game that we're going to talk about here in a second. They were all there courtside for
yep,
that fun Saturday night against the Volunteers.
yep, for sure. And real quick before we get into this Tennessee game, I was so upset that they were showing the like encore storm and all the celebrations after the Duke UNC game. I'm like, I get it, it's a big rivalry game, but I want to watch my Kentucky Wildcats play. Like we all know, UNC defeated Duke off the game-winning three. Like we don't need to see any more of the celebration. Like get it on to the UK Tennessee game because most fans they missed about the first 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, it feels like that just keeps happening because there was during the Arkansas game that happened. I don't remember. It was the Kansas BYU game was the one before that they had kept on. But that one was like, yeah, 5 minutes in, and Kentucky fans had to miss that first part of it. But with you bringing up that game, now I have to ask your opinion on the court storming because I was very strong on my opinion on what North Carolina should do about court storming or whether they shouldn't. Like, what's kind of your take on that?
I mean, I'm fine with court storming overall, but I feel like if you are considered a blue blood, like you shouldn't be, storming the court. Like I'm fine with like t-shirt outs, like make it a white out, make it a blue out, whatever that might be. But I feel like as a blue blood, like you should not be storming the court at all. That's just my honest opinion, like because you should be like the better team, like the better overall team. Like you have so much history behind you by winning national championships and everything, but that's my opinion, but I'm fine with court storming, field storming. Like, I feel like it's a part of, being a true fan, like whoever it might be, whether you might be a college student, high school student, a family member, like storm the court, storm the field, whatever it might be, have fun, but also stay safe, like make sure the players and coaching staff are always safe and everything. But I feel like as a blue blood, like you shouldn't actually be doing that in my honest opinion.
Yeah, that was exactly what my stance was. I just I feel like there's truthfully four programs that you should never storm the court under any circumstance with Kansas, Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina. I think those four should never storm the court ever under any circumstance. Now, I mean, this Duke one, like this win for them, like this past weekend, that would be, I feel like the only scenario where it would actually have a chance of happening, like where it's a insane Duke team that had one loss on the year going into it, and then they're like the favorite, whatever, and they led most of the game, and all this different stuff changes at the end. But then they doubled down and they stormed the second time after they put time back on the clock and ended.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, where's your pride, man? Like, where? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, because like you said, I feel like those four programs,
Yeah.
it should always be expected to win. Like,
Yeah.
if you look, Kansas didn't storm after beating number one Arizona, their first win in Allen Fieldhouse against the number one team in the entire country. They did not storm.
Mhm.
Like you said, the t-shirt outs, that's all fun, and I like all that. I don't mind any of that. But you never
Yeah.
storm the court. That's
Yeah.
just like if Kentucky was to ever storm the court, I would feel embarrassed. I'd be like,
Yeah.
what are we
I
like?
hear.
And honestly, for those four teams, none of the four really have a great football history. Just do
Yeah.
it in the fall. Don't
Yeah.
worry about it during basketball season. You can go storm the field and football when you get a big win or something, but
Yeah.
it's a sacred place. Those four places, just don't
Yeah.
storm it. That's kind
Yeah.
of my stance as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like you said, doing the fall, like peak 2021, nobody will ever forget Kentucky football season. Just being able to finally defeat Florida at your home field and everything at Kroger Field for the first time, I think, since like 1998. Like I was at that game. I believe you were at that game, but you were able to storm the field and everything. But like you were saying, do it during football season because like Kentucky basketball, they are the golden standard of college basketball, and that should never happen, though.
Yeah. I was at that game and I was on the field and got a selfie with Xavier Wheeler, Oscar Sheboy, and Bryce Hopkins that night because it was
Yeah,
still like that shows of anything that it's still always basketball and that's the standard and stuff. Because like if you're storming the field with a football win and your
Mhm.
number one priority is like I've got to get a selfie with those guys, then yeah, it
Yeah.
kind of shows.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I mean it was a lot of fun, and you can do that if you're those
Mhm.
four schools during football season. But once it's basketball season, you are expected. I don't care if you're a 15-point underdog and you beat them on a buzzer beater or whatever it may be.
Mhm.
You stay in your seats
Yeah.
and you don't storm because
Mhm.
it just feels like that's where mentality is shifted. Because
Yeah.
like if you're out there storming the court, then you're like, oh shoot, like we weren't supposed to do this. We weren't supposed to like when you're those schools, you're supposed to win every single game.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we agree on that take of stay in your seats and celebrate
Yeah.
from the stands. Do not run on the floor. But they doubled down on it. That was the
They
bad part of
doubled
that one
down for
too.
sure. I mean, it was a big win for sure, getting the game-winning three, but still, like, stay in your seat. I feel like if you're blue blood, for sure. But like I said, for any other school, I'm fine with the court storming or field storming, whatever it might
Oh
be.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think the court storming is awesome. There was one in Fort Worth tonight. TCU stormed the court after beating Iowa State, and I mean, yeah, those are always going to hit. I will
Yeah.
always love those. And I was trying to think like on the fly of just who else I think would be close to that tier. I think maybe UConn. I feel like if
Yeah.
UConn storms, I'm gonna be like, I don't know about it. But theirs, I feel like I could understand it because they played a Duke home and home
Yeah.
and like they beat them on a buzzer beater. If they beat us on a buzzer beater
Mhm.
or something, then maybe they storm. But like it's
UCLA,
that those
maybe.
those four. Yeah, UCLA would be. I feel like they just don't have enough fans in the
Yeah.
building anyway, so they're not going to have enough to call it a court storming.
Mhm.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
those four are definitely kind of in that tier. But other than those four, everybody should storm the court. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's awesome.
I agree for sure. Be absolute cinema, you know?
Yeah,
That's
yeah. Well, I,
that's
I
my
do
thing for that.
wonder. Uh, this was so crazy, and I know some people have talked about it and stuff. Like John Shire, right after the game, even after he had time to like sit down and like debrief and everything, he literally said to the media, which seems like is a lie because nothing has come
Yeah.
from it, that his family was having to push all these people out of the way. One of his staff members got punched, and
Right.
like
Mhm.
there are a billion cameras in that place, and
Yeah.
not one shows that as evidence. So
Yeah.
I think he was deflecting and tried to make the entire story about that instead of them having an absolute collapse down the stretch and
Yeah.
not being able to win that game when they should have. So,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I've always said like this era and the John Shire era of Duke has been a lot less hateable
yeah.
to me than the Coach K era. But if he does more of this, I mean, I'll be thankful for it because they're going to be a lot easier to hate
Yeah.
because he blatantly lied to the media.
Can't forget about the Kyle Filipowski situation a couple years ago too with the court storming, and everybody thought he was going to be out for the year.
Yeah, yeah, the Wake Forest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really embarrassing too. And
Yeah.
he acted like he tore his ACL or something. He was playing like a week later, and it was like, all right, man,
Yeah.
come on.
Yep. But do you have anything else you want to add before we transition to Tennessee?
I don't think so. I'm
Yeah.
thinking I'm good.
Yep. All right. Let's get into that Tennessee game. Of course, it was denim night. It was the first time UK ever wore the denim since the 1995-96 season, where they, of course, won the national championship under Rick Pitino. And, of course, the whole 95-96 team also got recognized during the game. So that was very exciting to see, all the former players from that year's team. I always love to see, Derek Anderson. Like, he's one of my favorite players, like, from back in the day because I just met him, like, whenever he was selling his book called Stamina, and I was in middle school, probably sixth or seventh grade, I would say. But I got to, talk to him. Of course, it costs money to like get his book, of course, signed and everything. But it was a cool moment whenever I was a young kid to get to talk to him and everything. So, it's great to see, the former players and everybody out there. But UK got the win 74-71. They came back from 14 points in the first half. And honestly, the first 5 minutes, I mean, UK did have the lead before, they finally transitioned to the UK game being on live television. So I thought maybe, hey, UK actually has the lead against Tennessee. Maybe we can roll and, get a double-digit lead or something. But as soon as basically the television came on, Tennessee went on that run. I think Ament and then of course, uh, Jacoby Gillespie.
Jacoby Gillespie.
Yeah, Jacoby Gillespie. I think they combined for like 30 something points in the first half, which was insane to think about as well.
Yeah, yeah, no, that was crazy. Yeah, that night, it seemed like it was one of the nights that just I would love to be in attendance for that. But I will say, like with coaching and stuff, I was absolutely drained. So I'm so glad we won that because that this past Saturday included for me three freshman games because we played in the tournament, and then there was a JV and a varsity game right after it. So it was a complete day where I was
Yeah,
just absolutely gassed. So then I get home, excited to watch the Cats. And then, like you mentioned, as soon as the game was turned on, it was like, all right, well, we're just throwing in the towel, and yeah, Jacoby Gillespie and Nate Ament were a big reason for that. But
combined for
um,
33 points in the first half. I just looked it up.
yeah, they were absolutely unbelievable. They were incredible. But yeah, the group, the older guys and Jeff Shepard ended up being the Y. It's always fun to see those guys back home and seeing them back rock and seeing him rock the denim was pretty sweet. And my namesake was there. He was one of them that was one of the guys that just kind of jumped on coach there at the end. And so it's always fun to see that group, like just
Yeah,
seeing them back together and they still have their group chat and everything that you always hear about them talking and stuff. So that was a lot of fun. But obviously the pregame festivities and all that stuff, it has to end up translating. And like you said, I mean, those first few minutes while the Kentucky fans sitting at home couldn't even watch the
yeah,
game, ended up being good. And
yeah.
it was like 8-6 or whatever it was early, and then it just
Af-
yeah,
After that,
terrible after that.
after that, it was all
Um,
Ament and Gillespie.
yeah, it was just the
Yeah,
Amen Gillespie show, and they absolutely torched us in that first half, and they
yeah,
were. It felt like there was no ending to that,
yeah,
but obviously they kind of the team locked down and
yeah,
slowed them down in the second half. But that duo right there, that
yeah.
was a tough half to watch as a Kentucky fan.
Yeah, for sure. I was like, why can't we guard them? Of course, everything changed in the second half. Their defensive adjustments really came in clutch for UK. But just to talk about UK a little bit, they only had actually three players in double digits against Tennessee. Of course, Oweh led the way, 10 for 17 from the field, and then he also grabbed 4 rebounds and 2 assists. And then Denzel Aberdeen, he also came along, 16 points, 5 for 11 from the field, grabbed 2 rebounds and 3 assists. And then the other player that scored double digits, Malachi Moreno, 10 points, 3 for 4 from the field. He also grabbed 5 rebounds and 3 assists. But we cannot forget about Colin Chandler. Like Colin Chandler continues to come in clutch. Of course, he didn't score 10 points for UK, but he had the biggest shot of the night, shot the ball probably from 5 or 6 feet behind the 3 point line, makes it and drills it, and basically causes UK to get the big win against Tennessee. I couldn't believe it. Colin Chandler, all of his field goals were from the 3 point line. He went 3 for 8 overall, but 3 for 6 from the 3 point line. So shooting 50% from the 3 point line, you can't ask for much more.
Yeah, he added to his list of clutch moments for sure. That one's towards the top. I mean, he had the one in Knoxville where he jumped passing lanes, and now here he is hitting an absolute dagger. And I don't know if you saw the camera angle where I had seen a picture post game, and it was Jalen Carey right after he had closed out on him, and like looked back to go see if it fell, and then as soon as it fell, he just had this look on him, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, they no way!" Like we just sold crazy, and that one. He had the most important bucket also because he got us to 71. The rule of
Yeah,
71,
probably.
it stays true. So, yeah, big time from him. And that trio that you mentioned, they were also really good. And Oweh just continues to just
Yeah.
it's unbelievable. It feels like, I mean, we were joking early that he wakes up and gets 10, and then we kind of added to it, and we are like, all right, he wakes up and gets 14. And now it's just like he wakes up and gets 20. Like he just
20.
gets 20 every single game. Like it's
Yep.
absolutely nothing. And he had the crazy layup in this one that
Yeah.
I still don't understand how he made it.
Yeah. I don't know how he made
Yeah.
that. I think that gave UK the lead at one point. Of course, Tennessee got the lead after that. I think.
Yeah, I want to say it was like it might have been like 60 to 59 or something
Yeah.
like after that layup. Yeah, it was somewhere around there. But yeah, he was incredible. And he had to work his butt off defensively, and I mean he was a big part of the adjustments that they made in the second half. So
Yeah.
big shout out to Oweh. Like he just continues to just get it done game after game.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, maybe the denim jerseys should be worn every game as long as Kentucky doesn't fall in a 14-point hole again. But, if UK can win every game, might as well wear them, right?
Yeah. Honestly, I thought the denims looked beautiful. I
Yeah.
don't know what your thoughts on them, but like, I mean, I have some friends that are crazy hating on them, and they
Yeah.
were like because I was joking about the first half where I was like, dang, I guess just retire the denims. This kind of
Yeah.
stinks that we're looking like this in them. And they're like, oh, they're ugly anyways. And there were two of the guys that said they're ugly anyways. And I was like, well, dang, I didn't think anybody thought that, but
Yeah.
here we are. And I thought they absolutely looked beautiful. I thought they nailed them.
Yeah, I thought for me, I thought they were just a little bit too wide. I thought they could be a little bit more denim. Of course, they had it on their sides and everything, the denim on that, but I thought the front of their jersey, like their shorts and everything, could have been a little bit more denim blue, instead of that white.
Yeah, yeah, it was a little lighter and yeah, I don't know. It was a weird thing that like I'd seen after I think it was on Twitter or something. I had seen somebody talking about it, and they said that like somebody had mentioned that point where they were like, "Oh, they're just too light. That's not even close to Kentucky blue and stuff." And apparently, that was the same complaint in the '90s. Was that people were like, "No, that's closer to North Carolina blue than it actually is Kentucky blue."
Hmm.
Whatever it is, I enjoyed those. I thought it was just cool to have like something different. And shout out to ESPN. They did the score bug in like a
Yeah,
denim
I
color. It
saw
wasn't
that.
like the regular Kentucky. So as soon as that was on, I was like, oh, that's pretty sweet. So
Yeah,
yeah, I thought they nailed them though. I absolutely loved them. I love the shooting
yeah.
shirt that they brought out too. And then I don't know if you saw. I think they're selling to the public the jackets that the '96 team was wearing, but they spelt unparalleled
Unparalleled
wrong.
wrong.
Yeah. So now people have bought jackets that have a typo. I feel like that's gonna be one of those things in like 20 years. People are gonna be like, oh yeah, I have the like special edition unparalleled spelt wrong jacket. And it'll go for a ton of money.
Yeah, I didn't know that they were selling them online, but I have seen the picture of it where it's misspelled out. I'm like, how can that happen? Of course, then some other UK fans brought up what happened with John Wall from over a decade ago, whenever he was wearing a Kentucky jersey and they misspelled Kentucky. So I'm like, how does this happen in the year 2026? With the misspellings.
Which honestly, I didn't even know this. I had never even seen the tweet. I always just thought that was like a typo. Like they did that with Indiana not too long ago in football. It said like Indinia or something on the jersey. Um, but yeah, John Walls was spelled wrong. And Cal had tweeted out, somebody had pointed out, Cal had like tweeted out something to where it was like, we did that on purpose just to see if BBN would notice it. And they sure did. Nothing passes them. And I was like, I don't know if that was like bull crap or they actually tried to just like see if BBN would notice or like I didn't know what it was, but it's definitely one of those like BBN lore things that like you're just always gonna remember. John Wall had his jersey spelt wrong in a
Yeah.
photo shoot. It's a classic.
Yeah, it's definitely a classic, but yeah, like I said, I really did enjoy the denims, and I know Mark Pope was asked if they had any away denim jerseys or whatever, and he basically said, I don't know if we have any away denim jerseys right now. I think he probably knows if UK does or doesn't have them. I assume they probably do have away denim jerseys, but they haven't been announced to the public. Like I said, this is my honest opinion, though.
I did actually ask that one of my buddies that's at UK. I said, "Do away denims exist?" And he said, "To my knowledge, no." And like,
The more
so
you,
I don't know. I could see a world where they exist or where they're being made or something behind the scenes, and we don't know that yet. But obviously, Mark Pope, it's part of his job to not
yeah,
put that out there. So yeah, it feels like speculation. I feel like they're probably, if they don't exist, they're probably in the work because
or
of
yeah.
how awesome that whole night went. Like that the denims drew attention from everyone. It drew
Mhm.
attention from the shoe world with the books and then the old Converses and then
Yeah,
I mean the denims got attention from all over the country.
yeah,
So I feel like they're definitely gonna end up coming out at some point.
yeah, for sure. I mean, anything UK does, like they can make money off of it. Like UK, Duke, North Carolina, UCLA, whatever school, like blue blood school, like they're going to make money off of it if they decide to, for in this instance, release the denim jerseys or release the denim book shoes that came out. Like it's a money making machine, and I just don't understand why, more universities or shoe brands or whatever. Why they don't get more involved in this, because if they do like a special jersey every year, like, yeah, and then of course sell it, they can make so much money off of it.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. And
Yeah,
yeah, I feel like they would make bank off of it, but I don't know. I feel like the away denim's got to be in the works. What's
yeah.
a uniform that you wish that we would bring back? Because there's been some others that people have talked about wanting to bring back.
I like the Bill Kitely jerseys, I'll admit.
Yeah, I do like those. I do like those a lot.
I liked the alternate away jerseys under Tyler Eulis, like it was with Tyler Eulis and Jamal Murray. It was like whenever we rocked them against I think Texas A&M, like the game that we should have won with, Humphreys getting that technical foul. But I did like those jerseys. I'm trying to think of what else. I do like, the black
Ooh,
jerseys that we wear. You good?
yeah. Hold on, I'm about to just get something. Hold on.
Oh, what does he
I'm
get?
pulling out. I'm pulling out these.
Oh, he's got so much. Oh, yes, I have
Yeah.
those too. Yeah, I
Yes.
have
These got to be brought
the
out. The
icicles.
icicles.
Yeah, I
The
agree.
icicles need brought out.
Hey, they brought them out for Lexington FC, so bring them out for
Oh,
UK
they did. I kind
basketball.
of forgot about that.
Yeah,
I kind of forgot about that.
I was thinking to get those in jerseys, but they cost like nearly $100. I was like, I don't have $100.
Oh, are they really?
I don't know if they are still being sold, but I think it was like 85 bucks to get a jersey.
Yeah, those were pretty sweet. I'm sure those sold pretty well.
Yeah, they probably did for sure, but I was like, I'm not spending 85 bucks on that. Maybe if it was like 65, I would have.
Yeah, something more reasonable, but yeah, no, 85. Yeah, see, yeah, they were 90. It looks like.
Yeah, I knew
Yeah,
they
no,
were up there.
yeah, that's a little too much. I don't know if I'd be buying that.
Yeah, but I saw people wearing them. Like I saw people wearing it at like the basketball tournament whenever UK or La Familia was in that. So, but I mean, I did see people buying them and wearing them though.
Yep. Yeah, I'm looking through the pictures right now. Oweh rocking it. That's some
Mhm.
good stuff. Then Tony
Yeah.
Delk threw it on. Yeah, no, they're fire. They're absolutely fire. We need to bring them back for basketball.
Yeah, for sure. But do you have anything else you want to add about this Tennessee game before we start to talk about Florida?
Um, I don't guess so. I think honestly, I don't know if it's got enough love. The Oweh pass on that play, for the Colin Chandler shot that we referred
Oh
to.
yeah, that was
That
insane.
one, yeah, that pass. There's like a screenshot that people have kind of taken of just like him midair, and it's like how in the world? And it hit him in the chest, and
Yeah.
it was the most perfect pass ever.
Yep.
So it was unbelievable, but like not really anything as like anybody in specific, but like this team's just like getting it figured out. It feels like every single game you start to realize like these guys just get their role more.
Mhm.
Like I thought Jasper came in and played some great minutes. He
Yeah.
had that one nasty move on Gillespie that got him to the line. Like that was a lot of fun. Yeah, they're just kind of figuring it out. Trent Noah
Yeah.
impacted the game without having to score, so that was fun. He ripped, what was it? I think it might have been Boswell, maybe on the perimeter or something. But like,
Hmm.
yeah, everybody was just active. Everybody just played with a chip on their shoulder that second half, and I mean, we
Yeah.
outscored Tennessee in the second half, 41-24. Like they sat
Yeah.
down and guarded the absolute crap out of these guys,
Yeah.
and also filled it up. So it was
Yeah.
an awesome comeback.
Yeah, it was definitely an awesome comeback, and hopefully, UK can actually get into these like double-digit leads and, hold them if they get to that point instead of getting down by double-digit points.
Yeah, for sure. They man, they did it. It was awesome,
Yeah.
and I think, I mean, we now have, because I would say now that Ziegler's gone, I think BBN's trying to kind of figure out who the next like very very hateable guy is
Boswell.
for Tennessee, and I think yeah, Bishop Boswell's figured out a way
Yeah.
to carve out his path of being that guy, because he
Yeah.
said he said after the game, like, we know we're the better team or something now that they've
Yeah.
lost twice. He was also crying the entire game, so
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
embarrassing.
Got hit
So
so many times in the face. I'm like, you wouldn't get a hit in the face if you weren't like on our players so much.
yeah, he's sitting there just like riding them when they're driving, and then he'll just put his nose just on somebody's elbow, and it's like
Yeah.
it's his fault. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
he was very annoying. But we got out of there with a win, and
Yep.
that's all that matters.
Two
We
and
we,
oh.
we own the little brothers.
Yep, 17-7 now on the year. Get three more wins before the SEC tournament, and you lock yourself into the NCAA. I feel like we're locked in no matter what, even if we lose out. But I feel confident like getting 20 wins will get you like a 5 or 6 seed. I feel like.
Yeah, that's kind of where I feel like we are. Like getting a 5 would be absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
But today, like I feel like I was looking today, and I feel like every bracketology I see has us like a 6. So
Yeah.
if you can get to a 6 seed, I'm feeling pretty good
Yeah.
about like where
Mhm.
you're at going into it. Because you can
Yep.
figure out a way to win a couple games with that. But yeah, obviously you want to avoid being an 8-9 because the ones this year are unbelievable. So
Yep.
you got to avoid that at all costs.
I agree with you, but let's get into Florida. Of course, they brought back a lot of their big men from last year's team into this year's team. They didn't really bring back their guard play, surprisingly. Of course, Denzel Aberdeen transferred from Florida to UK. Walter Clayton went to the NBA draft, but they brought back a lot of their big men. So let's get into it. Of course, surprisingly, Thomas Howe is their leading scorer for them. He's a 6'9" junior. He's averaging nearly 18 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, basically, along with 2 assists and 47.6% from the field. And he's the player that you have to watch out. And for UK, they'll have to guard their big men for sure because that's UK's main concern or worry because their guard play isn't as nearly great as it was last year. Like Florida, why they won the national championship is because they both had a great front court and a back court. This year, it's mainly their front court that is stepping up for them.
Yeah, for sure. They've been one of the stories of college basketball for sure because they were labeled as maybe the biggest disappointment. I mean, initially they lost their first game, lost a
Mhm.
lot of non-con games. They lost to TCU and lost a lot of different games. But you mentioned, I mean, their front court is unbelievable. Like I don't even know how they got a couple of these guys back. Alex Condon was kind of the one
Yeah.
that was the prize possession coming back, and
He's the
he's kind of
second
taking a
leading
back
scorer.
seat to Tommy Houck. Like Tommy Houck has been unbelievable all
Mhm.
year, and he's been very very consistent. But then Ruben Chinyelu, he's
Yeah.
been. I mean, I would say right now, unless I'm blanking, I would say it's probably him or Flory Badunga from Kansas that's going to be the National Defensive Player of the Year.
Hmm.
Chinyalu's been awesome, and I was actually beefing with a Florida fan. I say beefing lightly because it was just Twitter talk, but
Yeah.
um, we were talking about like he was comparing Ruben Chinyelu to Oscar Shibwe based on what he's been doing
Yeah.
recently,
I know. I saw
which
that.
is it's obviously, I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But if you look at his recent games, he had 10 and 16, 14 and 17, 14 and 11.
Yeah.
Prior to that, it was like 10, 7, 15 and 21, 20 and 10. Like he has been absolutely dominant.
Yeah.
That's going to be a big key because like all the best teams in the entire country are front court heavy. Like if you look at Michigan and Arizona, like those teams are loaded in the front court. That's exactly what Florida's mold is. Like
Yeah.
this game to me, like you can call it a loser mentality, whatever it is, but like just go compete. That's like
Yeah.
my
Go
mentality of
compete.
this one. Like
Yeah.
just go compete in it because this feels like a similar setup, but with a better team than the Vanderbilt one. Like it
Yeah.
feels similar to that where it's like, all right, just go down there. You don't have a great chance of winning. Like I don't know what the line's gonna be. I would say it's probably Florida like 6,
6 or 7.
maybe yeah 7 8, I don't know, it'll be up there. But just go battle, like just don't
Yeah.
go
Go
in
battle.
and get like run out of the gym. Like
Hmm.
we know what that place is. It's a small
Small.
and they get rowdy in there, but like the front court is unbelievable. Like it's still I
Yeah.
think the best front court in America. I think some people would argue Michigan, but this front court is unbelievable, and
Yeah.
their guards, like you said, that hasn't been the story of them, but like
Hmm.
they've figured it out. Like
Yeah.
they've got it going a little bit recently, so it's
Hmm.
gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a big test,
Yeah.
and it's for first place in the SEC, so it'll
Yeah,
be
and
fun.
just talking a little bit more about their front court, like you were saying, Alex Condon, he's a 6'11" junior forward. He's averaging 13.4 points per game, along with 8 rebounds, 3.7 assists, and he's their second leading scorer. And then, of course, Ruben Chenyalu. I'm trying to get his name right. It's hard to pronounce, but he's their third leading scorer. He's averaging 12 points along with 11 and a half rebounds, and he's a 6'10" junior. But those three, they are the three main scorers for Florida with the front court. If you transition to their backcourt, Boogie Fland, who was once committed to UK, of course, he did not stay committed to Kentucky. He decided to transfer or not transfer. I was get out of his national letter of intent, and then he went to Arkansas his freshman year with John Calipari. He decided to transfer after that. I was thinking, hey, maybe UK would go after him, but they did not. Flynn ended up at Florida, and his sophomore year, he's a 6'3". He's averaging 11.3 points per game, 2.5 rebounds, and 4 assists per game, along with shooting nearly 42% from the field. So overall, he's not really living up to the expectations that he was supposed to be after his, senior year of high school. Everybody was projecting him to be a one and done player. That did not happen under John Calipari. He ended up transferring, probably got back to go to Florida. And then, of course, the other player that I want to talk about for Florida is Xavier Lee. UK was after him. He was at Princeton before transferring. 6'4" senior guard. He's averaging nearly 11 points per game, nearly 4 rebounds, and a little bit over 3 assists per game while shooting 37% from the field. And I think he's one of the players that has really been underperforming for Florida. Like everybody had higher expectations, I feel like, for Lee, but he's definitely one of the players that has underperformed for Florida, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that duo right there, like they've definitely heard it. Mainly Xavier and Lee, I would say.
Yeah.
They've definitely heard it from the Florida fans because they are very uneasy. Basically just because of what last year's backcourt was with Elijah Martin, Walter Clayton, and Will
Uh-huh.
Richard. Like that
Yeah.
that trio right there was obviously insane. That duo, I mean, the Xavier Lee and Boogie Flan duo, it's not been incredible,
Mhm.
but they've kind of figured it out as of late. Like since Boogie Flan cut his hair,
Yeah.
he's had like 7, 10, 8, 10, 15.
Hmm.
He had an 8 steal game against Alabama. He's had 8 assists, 6 assists. Like he's been a better player recently. And he's been exactly what they needed. Like he's not the biggest 3-point threat in the world. I think it's safe to say that.
Yeah.
But Xavier and Lee, like they both, when they've needed it at times, like
Uh-huh.
they've provided recently. Like they when they played at Duke, I remember Boogie hit some big shots late. So like
Hmm.
it's gonna be one of those games where it's a big time opportunity, and I feel like they're gonna come in and bring it. Like
Yeah.
Xavier Lee, I feel like the problem with him is he's been like so inconsistent, I guess you could say, in like the lower games. But when it's been big time opportunities, now they're playing a ranked Kentucky team.
Yeah.
They're gonna bring it. They're gonna
Yeah.
be bringing their absolute A game, and then and yeah, they're gonna be just tough to stop just because they're both shifty. I mean, neither of them shoot really well from three. Like
Yeah.
Boogie's 18% and Xavier Lee's 25%. So like
Yeah.
they're gonna be tough to stop, but they're always gonna be trying to look to get downhill. But that
Mhm.
that front court's really the story of it.
Yeah, for
And, and
sure.
and seeing what we can do with them.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like you were saying, the front court is definitely like their main priority for UK. They will have to stop their front court. Just going through a few more players on their roster because they play, of course, more than 5 players, but they do have a backup point guard who's actually been doing very well for him. His name is Urban Klapsar. He's been with Florida for a little bit. He's a junior this year, 6'1". He's averaging nearly 10 points per game along with 1.5 rebounds, 1.4 assists, and shooting 42.5% from the field. So he's their backup point guard basically whenever Xavier Lee and Boogie Fland aren't playing. Another guard that they have, Isaiah Brown, he really doesn't do too much. He's only averaging 5 points per game. And then, of course, 2.5 rebounds. So those are the two other guards. And then their backup center that plays a little bit is Micah Hanlockton, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, but he's a 7'1" senior, 4.6 points, 6 rebounds, and shooting 64.8% from the field. For him, he is averaging 14.7 minutes per game. So Florida, they basically run an 8-man rotation, 8-man team whenever they are playing against anybody. So they don't really have a big like roster like where they play 10 guys. They play about 8 a game.
Yeah, the two I want to mention that you highlighted a little bit was Urban Klavjar. He's been a guy that like I think he scored over 18 or plus like 3 or 4 times this year. Like
Yeah.
he's been awesome for him in the absence of like some games where Xavier or Boogie, maybe one of them just hasn't had a great game. He's come in and brought a huge spark for him.
Mhm.
So he's gonna be one of those dudes. It's like he's a fiery guy. I think it was this weekend after the A&M game. He was calling A&M like sorry A words or something. Like he's just got that mentality. He's a European guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna be a big one. And then Micah Hanlockton, he was part of their run and a big part of it. Like he was,
Yeah.
I mean, it was the same front court as last year. So he was kind of that fourth man. He
Yeah.
was a big part of that last year. Like he's one of those guys that just gets it, and he'll come in and and have a good few minutes and have a good stretch and be a spark and everything. So they're going to be tough. They're going to be very,
Yeah,
very tough. That front court is very difficult. And but
mhm,
I'm excited. It's a big opportunity
yeah,
for us. So yeah, the personnel is, like you said, eight deep, and they play all of them.
yeah.
But that core is some of the best in the country.
Yeah, for sure. Their front court, like UK has to worry about that, and hopefully Jaden Quaintance will come back soon for Kentucky. Hopefully, maybe it's against Florida, but I know a lot of fans are worried that he might be shut down for the rest of the year. But hopefully, he's back soon, and if he does come back against Florida, like it'll be very much needed because UK right now they mainly have, of course, Malachi Moreno and then Brandon Garrison, but also Andrei Yelovich has come along with Mo Diabate, like everybody, it feels like they have started to learn their roles and everything for this year's team, and that's what we need going forward. And if Jaden Quaintance does come back, I really feel like it won't hurt this year's UK team. I feel like it could only improve their chances on winning the national title because if you bring a lottery player back from an injury, I feel like he's going to do great, and UK might need him.
Yeah, he would be very, very big to be able to bring back, and obviously I feel like there's a whole lot going on behind the scenes, and I remain optimistic, thinking that maybe he will end up coming
Yeah.
back at some point, and maybe he does want to put some more on the NBA's like kind of plate just to see what he can do. But
Mhm.
um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, he would be huge in this one. This would be like the game for him to come back, and like I don't know, barring something crazy, I don't think he will, sadly, but he would be awesome for this one for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But like you were saying, UK, they will have to make sure they play very well with their front court with mainly Malachi Marino, Mo Diabate, Brandon Garrison, and Andrea Yelovich.
Yeah, for sure. And Yelovich, like you mentioned, like I think he's kind of figured it out a little bit recently. Like he had some big shots down there at Arkansas.
Yeah,
He's had big shots and big plays throughout these games recently. So yeah, he's getting it figured out as well. And we're gonna need a big outing from him and really all the guys, like
yeah,
defensively, offensively. We're gonna need it all on
yep.
Saturday.
Basically you need a near perfect game to defeat Florida on the road. I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. Which is so crazy. I mean, this kind of it's a full circle thing for the podcast, but like where you mentioned early on in the podcast that like this year just makes no sense. I don't know how Auburn went to Florida and won. And it was just I have no idea how.
Yeah,
And so maybe we could do it. But
yeah,
I tend to agree with you where you probably have to play near perfect to be able
yeah.
to get a win down there.
Yeah, but do you want to get into the score predictions and game MVP real quick, and then we can wrap up the podcast?
Yep, that'll work.
Yeah, so I think we are both in agreement that UK will sadly lose this game against Florida. Hey, I mean, 17-8, isn't the greatest, but it's not the worst. I had UK going 24-7 this year, so they'll finally get to their eighth loss this year, sadly. But I have UK losing. I'll say it's going to be somewhat close, but Florida pulls away late with free throws, and I say they'll win 78-71. Just they make some free throws at the end to make it a 7 point loss against them. Could be a lot closer. Like I said, UK could get it down to 2, 3, 4 points, but Florida 78, UK 71. MVP, you've got to go with Otega Oweh. I'm going with like 20 points he'll have, along with like 4 boards and like 2 steals and 1 assist or something. But sadly, UK loses. So
Yeah, I'm definitely in the same section. I will go with a loss as well, sadly, and we'll kind of lose the half SEC because now after tonight Arkansas won at LSU and it kind of tied us for second place. The half came back behind Florida, so obviously a big opportunity to go win a game there and obviously that's always a chance. Like this team is unbelievable. That you don't think they're going to times and but I will go with I can't remember what did you say for your score?
I said 78-71 Florida. Hello? Did I lose you? There we go. There's Cameron. He's back.
Yeah, what in the world? Yeah, you just like froze on me and then it just
you, you
went to the
you froze on me too, but I heard everything you were saying. Like even though it was a little sputtering, like you froze, like your camera froze, but I heard everything you were saying. But you asked me what my score prediction was. I said 78-71 Florida.
Okay, 78-71. Okay, I'll go 81-74 Florida. I think they get this one. But my MVP for us will be the man, the myth, the legend that came from there, from Orlando, from coming from Florida, going back home in a big time homecoming opportunity. I think he puts up like a great performance. Like there's guys that sometimes fall in these moments, and there's sometimes guys that thrive. I think he's gonna be one of those that thrives. And he has a big opportunity to go do something. I think he puts up like a 20 ball or something. I think he has a great game for us. So Denzel Aberdeen, my MVP, but sadly a loss for Kentucky, and we lose that second place
Yeah.
spot in the SEC.
Yeah, sadly, that's the case for sure. Hopefully, we're both wrong. UK wins, though, against Florida. Like, hopefully, we're wrong about that. But also, I want to wrap up the podcast real quick by saying I'm so glad, the court did right in the Charles Bediako situation and ruled him ineligible for the rest of the year. So I was happy about that. Of course, everything is not restored with the NCAA and everything, but I was happy whenever the court order finally, got that right this week.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Now, obviously, that one kind of connects to Florida because of the Todd Golden
Yeah,
saying he can play, we'll beat him anyways, which
yeah,
they also did
yeah,
big time. So, I do hope they end up keeping their losses and adding that to their resume, and then vacate the wins. I think that would
yeah.
be best case scenario. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I don't think that will happen because of the TRO that was first signed, but who knows? We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I know the NCAA can do something, so
Yeah.
I just hope they do something about it because I mean it was so stupid. Like
Yeah.
at that effect, the fact that it happened at all is
Yeah.
just crazy.
Yep, I agree. But I wanted to wrap up the podcast by saying that, like everything is not definitely restored with the NCAA. Like, these players are going to try to twist and bend rules to get back into college basketball, whether, they played in the NBA or, played in the G League, whatever it might be. Definitely like there will have to be some changes. Hopefully this offseason, hopefully the Congress can get into it. But, happy for now with what happened with the NCAA court ruling.
Yeah, yeah, very happy. And honestly, I mean, best of luck to him going forward.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that it's like the classic. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Yeah.
Get out of college basketball, go play basketball wherever else you want to, professionally, overseas, whatever you want to do. Go back to G League, whatever it is. You're not welcome here. Like
Yeah.
you left, you chose to forego your eligibility. Get out of town. That's
Yep.
kind of the stance there.
Yeah, for sure. But do you have anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. I think I'm good.
One last thing I also want to add is I'm happy that Kyle Tucker is actually back in college basketball. He's with 24/7 Sports, so congrats to him. We have reached out to him to get him on our podcast. He said he would love to join, so hopefully we can get him on. We're going to let him be, of course, because he'll have to get used to his job. But he did say he would join our podcast in the future, so that's very exciting.
Yeah, that'll be exciting to get Kyle Tucker on and
Yeah.
obviously a kind of a legend in media. So it'd be fun to talk to him.
Yeah, for sure. But we appreciate you all watching on YouTube and, of course, listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. But this is Chris Beesmore and
And Cameron Waddle.
signing out. Have a great rest of your week, everybody.